everybody.
Okay.
Thank you so much for being willing to meet up with me to be interviewed for my science fair project. Would you please state your name and job title?
Sure. My name is Sarah McFadden, and I am Senior Manager of the Small Molecule Stability Group at Biogen.
Thank you. How did you become interested in chemistry?
Yeah, so I had a high school chemistry teacher that I really, really enjoyed. He was just great. I went to college thinking, oh, I want to be in med school. I want to be a doctor. And then I got to college and I realized that I loved my chemistry courses and I didn't like my biology courses. So I switched to chemistry.
That's very interesting. I have heard you work closely with the dissolution rates of various chemicals in your position. Can you explain to me which factors you look at when determining the rates?
Yeah, sure. So when I look at dissolution, I look at not only how fast the tablet disintegrates in the solution, but I also look at how quickly the active ingredient dissolves in the solution. So we can take time points as the tablet is dissolving and see how quickly the active ingredient is going into solution. So that's how we generally look at dissolution rates.
That's very interesting. For my project, I created simulated stomach acid with hydrochloric acid, potassium chloride, and table salt. I heated 50 milliliters of the solution to 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit on an induction stovetop, and then placed the tablet to be tested into the solution. Then placed that on a magnetic mixer and used a stopwatch to record the time until it was fully dissolved. I repeated this 3 times for each Tylenol product and took the averages. How does a professional company test dissolution rates?
So pharmaceutical companies are held to certain guidelines and guidances that we follow. Because from one company to another, we want something like a dissolution method to be pretty similar on how that is tested. So there are guidelines in the US, we follow something called the United States Pharmacopoeia. So the USP gives us guidance on equipment to use as well as like how methods should be developed. And so that's how we determine how to create a dissolution method.
Thank you. Then how do you use that dissolution data to create new drugs?
Yeah, so when we talk about creating new drugs, dissolution is a very key factor in what goes into that. A lot of the considerations for new drugs and the formulation of those is how the drug will be used. So if it's something where you need immediate relief, we want it to dissolve very quickly, right? To be absorbed very quickly. If it's something more of like a chronic condition, we want to slow that dissolution down. So we want it to be released into the body at a much slower rate so that it's effective for a longer period of time. So there are different ways and formulations that we can do that, right? You talked about, you did your experiment in hydrochloric acid, right, to simulate the stomach. So there are some medicines where we might not want it to dissolve in the stomach, so that we can put a coating on it that's resistant to the low pH, so that it absorbs lower in the digestive tract.
Thank you. My project is about which of these 4 types of Tylenol products, regular strength liquid gels, extra strength, and rapid release gels, dissolves the fastest in simulated stomach acid. I hypothesized that the rapid release gels would dissolve fastest, but after taking the averages over 3 trials per product, regular strength Tylenol actually dissolved the fastest at 1 minute and 45 seconds, and second was extra strength at 2 minutes and 25 seconds. Rapid release gels came in third at 3 minutes and 23 seconds, and the liquid gels took an exceedingly long time to dissolve at 28 minutes and 41 seconds. Could you help me understand why the results appear the way they do? Specifically, why regular strength ends up being faster than the rapid release gels? Why the liquid gels took so long to dissolve?
Sure. So I don't know the specifics of Tylenol, but I can tell you from my experience looking at dissolution data how I would look at those results. So when I compare dissolution rates, I compare dosage form to dosage form. So I believe you looked at 2 tablets, right? Regular strength and extra strength, and then also some gels. So I would compare the tablets, and then I would compare the gels. Okay? So it's interesting that the rapid gels were much faster, right, than the regular gels. So that is aligned, I think, with your hypothesis that would go faster. But the tablets, I would look at those separately.
Oh.
So when I speak of a dosage form, that's how the drug is presented. So a tablet, a capsule, a soft gel, or that type of thing. That's the dosage form.
Thank you. Is there anything about my results that surprises you?
Yeah, they're actually very fast.
Yeah.
I'm very impressed you were able to accurately record those times with them stopping so fast.
Thank you. Even though I was limited in my accessibility to the equipment that a professional company uses, is there anything I could have done differently to make it more scientific?
So we generally, when we test dissolution, we do N of 6. So we test 6 samples rather than just 3. That way the mean has a little bit more statistical power to it. But that is a very well-designed experiment, so good work on it. That's the only suggestion I have.
Thank you so much. And thank you so much for your time and expertise. It is greatly appreciated. Thank you.
No problem at all. Or anything, or are you good?
No. I'm not
You
sure.
don't have to. No, I was just asking, offering.
Yeah,
If you have additional questions, just let me know.
Is there anything, as you, can you think of anything now that you're...
Like, do you want to know about I know I referenced, there's pharmacopoeias and things like that, but do you want to know how we test dissolution?
I've actually been really interested in that.
Okay, so disso equipment is actually really big. It takes up a big footprint in our labs because we test all 6 samples. I said we normally test 6 samples. We test all 6 at one time. So there are these big vessels. It's just a glass vessel. Honestly, it looks like a big kind of vase. And they hold maybe 2 liters of solution. And so that's, pretty good size. And then there are different apparatus, but one of the main ones that we use is called a paddle apparatus. And basically, it's just like what you did with the magnetic stir, only a big metal paddle comes down and just spins the solution, right? Because if it's just sitting in a beaker, it's not going to dissolve as fast. But we know that how the digestive tract works, it's not it's not stationary, right? There's movement through the digestive tract. So you want to spin that and get it moving. That's more accurate reflection. And then they're also heated. So you did yours at 98.6. We do the same thing. We heat it to body temperature, stir it, but we do them all at the same time. So it's a great big piece of equipment. It's very standard. And you can, there's companies that just make those for us to buy, so it's very convenient.
What solution, what's the most common solution that you use?
So there are, I don't know, I'm curious, how did you choose your solution?
Well, we were just searching it and we found that this would make it most stomach acid. And we weren't sure because some were for simple experiments use vinegar because hydrochloric acid can corrode stuff and stuff.
Yeah.
So we just found out that this would we couldn't use the stuff that you mostly would use.
Sure, yeah.
And this was most the stomach acids. That's what I would use.
Yeah. No, I was impressed. So there are various stomach acid solutions that you can use, right? Some medicine it tells you to take after you've eaten, or some medicine says you don't have to take it with food. Those are actually 2 different simulated media that we can use based on the pH of the stomach after you eat or before you eat, right? So there are different media solutions that we use like that.
That's really cool.
Yeah, and some, I was talking about maybe the modified release or extended release things where we want to sort of slow it down and we don't want them to dissolve in the stomach. They can actually put a coating on the outside of the tablet and it's resistant to the pH. So in order to do dissolution on that, we have to put it in an acid bath for a long time, right? And then you switch over to show that nothing dissolved in your acid. You switch over to more of a buffer phase so that mimics the next step in the digestive tract. So then you can see how your drug releases in that. So there's actually, like I said, this is all guided by the pharmacopoeias, and it's not just the U.S. Each major market basically has their own pharmacopoeia, but obviously in the U.S. we follow the U.S. pharmacopoeia, and those guidances are laid out in the pharmacopoeia. So it's pretty standard. Dissolution is one of the key factors that are considered when we talk about like oral dosage. Yeah. So, great experiment.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being willing to meet up with me.
No problem at all. I don't mind at all. Yeah, happy to help. Are you interested in science?
Yeah, I've loved science for like basically forever.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, I highly encourage it. Yeah, that's why I'm always happy to help anyone who's interested in science, especially girls, obviously. But yeah, if you ever have any questions, let me know. I'm happy to answer them. I can tell you about my experiences and how it worked for me.
Yeah, that's really cool. It must have been really hard, like switching majors and everything.
Yeah. I don't know. Once I got to college and actually started doing research and really getting into it, chemistry is just a lot of fun. You get to ask a lot of questions, play with some solutions here and there. Yeah. So I liked that a lot better. But it's are you in 8th grade or 9th grade?
I'm in 7th grade.
7th grade. Oh my! Well, that's a very good experiment for 7th grade. I wasn't sure. Yeah. Do you have any idea of what you would want to be when you go to college?
Actually, I wanted to go into the medical field.
Do you?
Yeah.
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 I think it's very noble. I would still consider going back to school, and then I'm like, yeah, I don't know. I have a decent career going. I don't know if I should switch at this point, but yeah, I do think about it. So, best of luck to you. Lots of chemistry courses to get to med school.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even like when I was in grad school and I taught courses as a TA, and even the nursing students have to take organic chemistry because obviously chemistry is an important part of healthcare. So they did not love that as a requirement for their degrees. We spent a lot of time with the nursing students, but it's important in all aspects of healthcare for sure. And I like to think that in pharmaceuticals that I'm tangential to the medical field, right? Still healthcare, just not medical care necessarily. Yeah. That's all right. Still helping patients.
It's interesting because we weren't like sure because do you know the Bells?
I don't.
So her dad is a pharmacist.
Yeah, no. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I guess I didn't know their last name.
Oh,
sorry.
And we were just like, I'm not sure who we're going to interview, and then we found out that you work with dissolution rates, and we were like, wow, that's very amazing.
I do. Yeah, I look at dissolution every day. Yep. It's very cool. Do you have any other questions? Are you good?
I'm good.
You
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem at all. If anything, if you can't hear anything or anything like that, just let me know.
Yeah, we will. Thank you so
cool.
much again.
Yeah, no problem.